talk show where BS is king. It is always from the testicular perspective. So all you sissies and wussies and sweater vest wearing pussies, you might want to just move your ass along because we're about to get into it. I am the one and only Mr. Calm and Rational and oh so modest DJ. And with me is my fine, happy, gold-sharing leprechaun friend, Pete.
Get your goddamn hands off of my stash. I'm actually I was quite surprised that you were able to get that M word out.
Yeah, I actually, practiced it, and I was like, I actually assigned a different type of meaning to it just so I could say it, kind of like passing a lie detector test.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes they say, well, if you want to pass a lie detector test, if they ask you, did you murder, did you murder your wife? And you think in your head, did you eat garbage this morning? And you go, no.
Right.
But you just think that in your head. They ask you a question and you think real quick to do I have sex with dogs? No. Oh, that's false. Oh, damn.
Because you have had sex with a few dogs.
Well, I mean, we're not talking literally. We're not talking literally. I mean, we're talking, yeah, I admit, I've had sex with a couple dogs, couple pigs. Yeah.
Going hogging is fun. So
it was actually funny. I actually saw this thing. I was watching John Oliver. Although he's a libtard, he is funny a lot of times. As long as he stays to apolitical, I like him. But once he starts going on his liberal view shit,
right.
I get a little irritated. But he was talking about they were showing I guess MSNBC or something like that had something about, they were talking about sex, and they said that the average man has 14 point something partners over a lifetime, and the average woman has 8.1 or something like that partners over a lifetime.
Right.
And I was just thinking, I was like, wow. I was like, that's. I mean, I don't know what they're polling. Honestly, I mean,
it's
who
the big discrepancy. So.
Well, it's a pretty big discrepancy, but I mean, it's nowadays, chicks are banging, 30, 40 guys, and guys are plowing 100, over a lifetime.
At least. So unless they're all full of crap.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think when I was single, I would plow. I would pretty much. Actually, the funny thing is I would turn down a lot of girls. I even turned down hot ones. That was the funny thing. I would turn down hot ones. If they thought they were all that, I would actually turn them down. I'd let them take me out to dinner, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, thanks a lot, and I'd have them drop me off, and I'd call somebody that was not even as hot, and I'd have them come over and plow them. Right. Just so I could it was one of those moral victories. Man, that chick was hot, and she bought me dinner, and I didn't even screw her. Ha!
Right. Right.
And now that I'm older and married, I look back and go, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah.
Should have plowed every one of them, and their chihuahua too,
and their midget friends. So I mean, it's only fair.
So I spent the morning cutting up that tree.
That emergency tree.
Yeah, the emergency tree. Half of it was in my yard, so I had to at least take care of that. So I cut that up. I mean, the vines that were all wrapped around it made it really tough to deal with, but. And then I had my kids come out, and after I cut everything up, I was out there for almost 2 hours cutting the damn thing up. And so then I told my 3 boys, all right, you guys got to go clean this up. Holy crap. I mean, I think I spent more effort just yelling at them to do their friggin' work than I would if I had just cleaned up the damn thing myself.
That's usually the way it is. That's usually the way it is. Don't feel bad. They all do this. So, and it gets worse later on.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Well, I imagine I'll have at least one less kid in the future then.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's just, you ask them to do one particular thing, and that just becomes like a near impossibility to them. However, all the work that they do to avoid the work is just quite a bit more strenuous, and takes up actually more time than the actual work itself.
Yep. It's actually interesting. There is I forget what the book's name is. A guy around like the like the Industrial Revolution times. He followed around all the bigwigs, and it's something about successful people, and he wrote this big novel, with all these interviews with these, J.P. Morgan and stuff like that, Carnegie and I don't know if it was in the book or if he said this, aside from the book, but he said if the average male would focus as much energy as they focus into, getting women or getting laid, they would be titans of industry.
That was Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, was it? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So but it's totally true.
Oh, 100%. If you put that kind of effort into, work or making money or, growing a business or doing whatever, as you do at that age, trying to get some nookie, and just think about it. There's nothing that will stop you. You'll try anything.
Oh yeah. Dude,
risk life and limb.
Yeah, I remember one time. This girl from across town. She was probably 5 miles away or something like that, 5-6 miles away. Mm-hmm. She called me up. She called me up. It was like 1 a.m, and I mean this was before I had my license. I didn't drive. And she was like, "Hey, I broke up with my boyfriend." I was like, "Oh, okay. What do you want to do?" She's like, "I don't know. I mean, I'd like it if you could come over." I was like, "Ah ha ha." So I hopped on my bike, rode my bike out. Now I'm in high school, and we all know high school guys don't usually last long. So I rode my bike 5 or 6 miles, one way, to go have 5 minutes of fun and then ride my ass back. I probably spent 2 hours or whatever. I don't know how long, because there was a lot of hills too, to get there. I probably spent 2 hours riding my friggin' bike, pedaling in the middle of the night, risking, getting harassed by cops and stuff like that, and just to go boink boink boink. Okay, thanks. See you later.
Yeah, thank you. Come again. Oh yeah, that's the kind of stuff you'll do. So, and if you put that kind of effort, now into things, which you wouldn't, because, well, number one, you don't have that energy. Number two, you just don't have that kind of drive anymore. It's as simple as that. It's just it's wasted, basically, is what it is. So, it's unless you give yourself testosterone shots and all kinds of different anabolic steroids and such that'll make you such a way. But then you'll end up dying from some sort of nut cancer or something. So it's just not good. So
I just popped the L-arginine. L-arginine, natural thing. It makes it boosts your it boosts your nitric oxide levels and stuff, and so I mean I take that. It's kind of like in swimming with sharks when he's like, Kevin Spacey has his intern or whatever go and get Rogaine. And he goes, but you're not losing your hair. He said, yeah, that's the point. It's a preemptive thing. Now, I'm not having a problem anywhere down there other than, getting my nuts snipped and stuff. But other than that,
yeah.
I mean, dude, the funny thing is, I mean, all right, I've had multiple shoulder surgeries, hernia surgery, all sorts of stuff. I go talk to the doctor. They're like, well, we could try this. I'm like, look, let just cut me open, get it over with. No big deal. But, man, talking about getting my nuts snipped, man, that was the hardest decision of my life. It was like, I'm like asking the doctor all these questions. What if am I going to wind up with permanent blue balls? Is this going to affect me getting a hard on? Is this going to lessen the pleasure in sex? Is it, all these things. My junk is much more important to me than a hernia or a shoulder, a functioning shoulder. Yeah.
Because most of those surgeries you really had a lot of times attempted on your own, because you're not one to forego home surgery.
Oh yeah.
If you have an X-Acto knife and a bottle of 70% alcohol, you're good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, stitched myself up before, pulled a corn out of my foot before with a pair of vice grips and an X-Acto knife. That was fun. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, ear babies.
Has ear babies. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Which you saved.
I did say for a while. I think it grew wings and left. I think it left the nest and went to form a family of its own. So
right.
Yeah, performed
somebody else's ear.
Performed oral surgery on myself in college. Yeah, that worked.
Sure.
It worked.
Sure.
I mean, my wife thought I was insane. We were dating at the time, and I had this my wisdom teeth were coming in, and they were all infected and stuff, like the gums were, because they were just all the pressure and stuff. Finally, I couldn't take it. I just got an X-Acto knife and just sliced open my gums. I had blood. It was that nasty, dark blood. Yeah, it was nasty. It tasted nasty. I was like, she's like, I can't believe you did that. And I just, rinsed with some rubbing alcohol, which, felt great. But but it worked. I was like, look, after 2 days, it didn't hurt anymore. I was like, hey, fixed it. So.
God.
Now let's screw. In fact, as I had blood pouring out of my mouth because I was I think 20 or 21 at the time, I was like, come on, baby, come on. Look, I'm like Gene Simmons without the long tongue, so I'll just stick my penis in you.
Right.
So
There you go. That worked. So, right back to you'll risk life and limb and even surgery, in order to get some nookie.
Oh yeah. I gotta say, there's one thing about having sex with a girl with an eating disorder. Okay, when they're real skinny, they make you think that your penis is huge because when you put it in there, because they're so damn skinny, you can actually see. Every thrust, you actually see a burp. You're like, I am affecting your outside physical shape. I'm huge.
So that's why you often went to look for bulimic midgets.
Bulimic midgets, hell yeah.
You felt like King Kong.
Oh boy, usually I wait until 9:30 to start yawning. It's been a
you're already yawning.
It's a tiring day today. Cutting down trees. That's the funny thing. People, you would think chainsaw. You just go ring. No, using a chainsaw. It works. Also, considering my chainsaw, I mean, this is my dad's chainsaw, and he has been dead for holy crap, 26 years. And who knows how long he had that chainsaw before I got a hold of it. So
let's say it's a 35-year-old chainsaw. Would that be?
yeah,
reasonable?
30. No, I'd say 30 years old probably. You know, at least. You know, so
it's not like made of the new materials where it's actually lighter and safe.
yeah, well, no, certainly not safe, and it doesn't like to start, and it likes to cut off. So you know, you got to keep the chain engaged like the whole time, or the thing will stall out. So you know, and I'm on a hill, and I'm trying to cut this friggin' tree down in the morning with all the dew on the grass. So I'm like slipping with this chainsaw that's spinning, and it was pretty fun. You know, it was,
I can imagine.
I was like, oh, well, you know, I might be visiting the hospital. So, but I didn't. Look at that. Although that damn pine tree cut up my legs. I had a log roll and fall on my shin and my ankle. That felt wonderful.
Oh, I can imagine. That's always a lot of fun. Yeah, I was.
And you know what I'm doing right now.
Oh, you're making coffee because Consuela.
That's right.
The Asian Slavic Mexican woman decided to go back to Mexoslavia.
Mexoslavia. Yeah, I'm gonna. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna when because we're going to be taking a break from the show, because I mean you got something going on next Saturday, right?
I do.
So
and you got something going on, so
yeah. We're going to take a break, but when all is said and done, hopefully in that time, I'm going to try to get in touch with Pettigrew and try to get get the soundboard or something going, so we can have music and we can have sound effects and actually have a show.
Yeah, and boings and
the boings and ew. That's how that was like my favorite.
Oh, absolutely. So,
hey, you know what you should do? You should look up this Post Great Grains granola. It's probably all GMO crap, but it's pretty good.
Or, for stuff that'll make you grow an extra head, it's damn good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Do you hear that crunchy stuff?
Crunchy granola.
Mm-hmm. I put it in my smoothie.
You could almost feel an extra limb growing as you eat it.
Well, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you, anybody that's listening, how to make the awesomest smoothies. Okay? It is my recipe, and it is awesome. You know what makes them better? Okay. First of all, you need like a magic bullet. You need something that can really chop up the stuff.
Right.
Screw a blender. Blenders don't do the job. You need like a magic bullet.
Right.
So anyway, I put in some spinach, put in some blueberries, throw in a banana.
Uh-huh.
I put like 3 or 4 strawberries in there, throw some peaches in there.
Uh-huh.
Let me see what else. I think sometimes I'll throw some nuts like cashews, walnuts, stuff like that. Let me see. I throw that granola stuff in, but you got to get the blueberry stuff. Throw that stuff in there.
Right.
And then I top it off with cookies and cream protein powder. And then I just put like 1% milk in there. Dude, it's like ice cream. It really is. It's like ice cream, but it's good.
I can imagine.
But it's like good for you ice cream. It's awesome. I would actually rather have that than ice cream.
Wow. Now, do you put icing with it too, or no?
No. Cause, Because I keep my strawberries, I keep my blueberries Strawberries, blueberries, and spinach is all frozen.
Ah.
So there's your ice. There's
There's your ice. There you go.
So it's it's really good.
I'll bet you it'd be good too if you used kale, because like kale is like out of this world. Yeah, stuff.
I tried kale. I don't know if it cut up correctly or something. I don't know. There was something I didn't like about it. I don't know if it was the flavor or not. But I did try. Yeah, I did try kale, and I didn't really like it. So I used to actually make it with like this like berry juice stuff instead of the milk, but it was a little too acidic. Because like a lot of times I'll drink one while right before like I go play hockey or work out or something, and it would like I'd feel like but you drink the milk balances out the acidic nature of the fruits, and it's awesome. It really is. So I have just told people my recipe. You're welcome. If you're an attractive woman, you can have sex with me. If you're not an attractive woman, you can blow me. Okay, or maybe I'll bend you over and I'll stick it in your butthole. But
and that would be your definition of is. So yeah. So last time we did the show, and we were talking about all kinds of different jazz.
Oh, we were all over the place.
We were all over the place. One thing that we didn't mention, and because it's been pretty popular in the news as of late, and in fact, it's all they seem to talk about lately, is Donald Trump. And the only reason I want to talk about him is because the people that are hopping on the Trump bandwagon are starting to drive me a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And they forget who he actually is. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the idea that he's in there and annoying everyone. He annoys libtards, he annoys the establishment Republicans, he annoys the neocons, he annoys everybody. So this is a good thing. This is that gets them off their game. He's really doing good with that. However, let's not forget who this guy truly is. Number one, you have to understand he is the reincarnation of P.T. Barnum, who basically, I don't think he actually really said this, but it's attributed to him that a sucker is born every minute.
Mm-hmm.
And this, this is what a person that's a Trump supporter is. They're a sucker.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically just doing this to self-aggrandize. He gives him a good feeling. He doesn't believe in a majority of what he says. And I'll even give examples. Perfect example was in 2000, he wrote a book. And he was so enamored with the healthcare system of Canada and other socialized medicines out there that he said that we should have a single payer. But yet he'll come out and he'll knock Obamacare. Well, yeah, it doesn't go as far as single payer.
It's not a single payer. Exactly.
Right. So, and he wants single payer, that's for sure. At least he did. Okay. He was also for gun control. Was all for gun control. He said, I'm a Second Amendment guy, but I'm for gun control. And I think that people don't need assault weapons. So, and I've actually had people tell me that, he doesn't mean regular guns. He means like automatic weapons. I said, no. Weapons. But they term as assault weapons. He means AR-15s, all semi-automatic weapons with large magazine capacity that happen to, be able to shoot more than one round every couple seconds.
Actually, I think it's probably just anything that looks scary. I mean, I don't even think he really knows the difference. If it looks scary, if it looks like a machine gun, Well, it's a
looks
machine
like
gun.
That. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Or those, semi-automatic, automatic assault Glocks that the media always latches onto. He said this, and he said there should be a longer waiting period. A lot of different things like that. He was one of the bigger contributors to more of the Democrat campaigns than he was to Republican campaigns. He really is not a constitutionalist.
No.
He certainly doesn't. He certainly doesn't. I don't even know if he knows what the Constitution is.
Let's not forget one key thing. He's a corporatist.
Yes.
He's a corporatist. I mean, he's. That's the whole thing. I mean, people seem to be forgetting that. He is. It's. He's not. He didn't. Here's one thing that people. Yes, he has amassed a fortune. I mean, and I'm not even going to give him a problem for going bankrupt. What, 3 times? I'm actually not going to.
I mean, this is what business people do.
Yeah, he took risks. Yeah. He took risks, and he took gambles, and he lost out. And he I guarantee these bankruptcies were not like because he was really broke. I guarantee it was just a restructuring. So I mean, he strategically, business-wise, he's good. But let's not forget, he inherited something like $250 million from his dad.
Oh, yeah, everyone makes it out like he's like this self-made guy. He's self-made after he had $250 million in his back pocket.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, and we all know money creates money. Wealth creates wealth. Now
sure.
He was aggressive. He took risks when he didn't have to. I mean, that'll give him credit for it. But, here is one of the problems. When you're dealing with a country and you bankrupt it, it's not a strategic restructuring. It's a collapse. So, or it's a depression or a massive recession, like the one we're still in. I don't give a crap what people say. Oh, no, we're not. So we're in it. We're still in it. We haven't got out of it. So, I mean, and this is because there was gambles taken. There was gambles taken. There was incentives to take these gambles from the government. They took them. They lost. They made a ton of money, but the average person is left holding their dick in their hands. So this is, I'm not high on Trump. I don't understand it. And it is kind of like, what you're saying about Trump with the Second Amendment. Same thing with Ben Carson. And here's the thing that really pisses me off. Ben Carson, what you have to do, this is for all the people that may be listening, or if you may agree with us, but you may have some people that don't. When somebody gets into the political arena, they will modify things that they'll modify their positions to get votes. You can't believe what people say on the campaign trail. You can't. What you can believe is what they said prior to it. That's when you can believe what they really feel like. Now Donald Trump, as you said, single payer system. He's not, he's weak on the Second Amendment. Okay. Now he may come out and say, "Oh yeah, no, I don't want to have Obamacare," and he may not tell you what he wants, but I don't want to have Obamacare. And I believe in the Second Amendment. He's running as a Republican. He knows that's going to get votes. Ben Carson, he came out. His first comment on firearms was, "I think that we should." He said, "I support the Second Amendment, but it depends on where you live. I don't think we should have assault weapons." Or, what was it, assault weapons or pistols or something like that, or large magazines in urban areas. That's how he feels. Just because you live in an urban area, it should not preclude you from having an assault weapon. In fact, it may actually mean that you probably should have one, because the gangs do, and the gangs have fully automatic.
They certainly do. And most of them probably supplied by Eric Holder and Fast and Furious.
Yeah, at least some of them. So I mean,
Sure.
so if you're going to go off of what people are saying on the campaign trail, look, I know where Rand Paul stands on most things. I do. You and I, we both followed him.
Hmm.
We both followed him. On the before, you know, and he is stuck to he's stuck to his guns when it comes to like things that he does. Now he has modified things he said, and it's pissed on face value. It's pissed me off. He's gotten on the we're going to support Israel bandwagon because he knows he has to for Republicans. But I know he fully believes that we should cut all foreign aid, not just to Israel, everyone. Stop giving to we're what, $19 trillion in debt at this point at least. I mean, we don't know because they stopped the debt clock about like 18 weeks ago. So we don't know exactly what it is. But we're probably $19+ trillion in debt, but we're giving away billions of dollars a year or trillions of dollars a year in foreign aid. So, but that's the thing. He's initially said, I don't think we should be giving foreign aid to countries. So that's where he does actually stand. Now, if he was president, whether he's going to stick by it, hey, look at Reagan. Reagan was awesome when he was giving speeches and stuff like that until he became president. He was better than most, but he wasn't nearly the person you heard.
No, on certain things, and I still think that part of that is, and this would apply to just about anybody that gets into office. Once they get in, the machine owns you. There's not they probably just take like after the inauguration they take you and just say, okay, now here's how it really works. And you probably just sit there like dumbfounded because you had all these grandiose ideas of what you were going to do, and they said, this is how it's going to work, or we just do away with you. I mean, that's really how the whole thing, I'm sure, kind of works. May not be those exact words, might not be, they pull you off into a dark corner, but I'm sure that you're made aware very early on in your administration how things go, and you're not going to change anything that they don't want changed. So that's just my idea. So I think that he did well. I mean, I see just from his when he did get the nomination, and then he chose Bush as his running mate. You could see that that's where the machine kind of got him right there. The establishment Republicans wanted Bush in there.
Or
one of their own.
Yeah, I mean, Bush was head of CIA. He was a political insider. He was I mean that's. And mostly, I look at McCain. McCain picked Palin not because he liked Palin. McCain didn't like Palin one friggin' bit. I guarantee you, he didn't like her one friggin' bit. But they said, oh crap, they're running a black guy for president. Let's run a woman for a vice president to try to balance that out and try to get some of the female votes. I think Sarah Palin would have actually, I'm going to be honest, I think she would have actually done pretty well, probably better than McCain if she had been the presidential nominee, because then she wouldn't have been playing that back role. She could have really gone out and said, hey, look, you know what? The prior administration was corrupt. It was corrupt, and when I went in to be governor, of Alaska, the first thing I targeted was corrupt Republicans.
Right. She did a good job as governor. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. She was an excellent governor. And I don't care who they are. People will hate her, but you still have to agree that she did a good job as governor for sure.
She was
So-
a very good governor. Now, if you're governor of Alaska, does that mean that you're ready to be president of the United States? I don't know, but I would say you've got more
Well,
qualifications.
It probably means more than a junior senator who was a community organizer.
Yeah, who voted president mostly.
So, except on his birth certificate. But, it's crazy. It's craziness. So, yeah, so is Trump the guy? No, he's not the guy. He's pretty much a fake, Is he good for making everybody squeal right now? Yeah, he's great for that.
So
he's
basically,
good for that.
So basically, he'd be great if you were taking, like, let's say, a rafting trip down a river in Georgia.
Yes.
Yeah, he can make you squeal.
Like a pig.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And anyone who can, get up there and give out Lindsey Graham's phone number is okay. So, although I would have, myself would have came out and said that he's a neocon F-tard and he's a scumbag. So, but, he ended up just giving out his phone number, which is good. So it works, I suppose. But, it's just the same people that were on the Cruz bandwagon when he first started jumped to Trump.
Yeah.
Almost immediately. I know a bunch of them, that I could see that, whether they be on Facebook or any of the boards, you could see that they jumped immediately.
Yeah.
And they're just, well, we want Trump. So it's like they're buffoons.
Well, think about it. You had all the people that were supporting Cruz, and it was kind of like Alan West. On face value, in the beginning, I was kind of like, okay, I like some of the things he says and stuff. And then I started finding more out about him, and I said, nah, not so much. No, I mean, like, put it this way: Ted Cruz would have been good 8 years ago. I mean, at least in my eyes, he probably would have been good. I mean, he may not have been, but at least 8 years ago, I would, I certainly would have rather had him than Obama or George Bush.
Right. Right.
But you need something drastic now, and I think that's the thing that Trump appeals to people. Is yes, Trump isn't really going to be bought off by anybody. I believe that. I don't think he's going to be bought off, although I think he owes some favors probably. But I don't think he'll be bought off. But the thing they like about Trump is he's just so different. He's somebody that's different, and that's not necessarily good.
No. I mean, listen, if he has done a 180 on everything, I mean, people change in 10 years or 15 years. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But he would have to do a complete 180. It couldn't be, where he was, well, I was kind of on the fence then. No, this was what you were for.
Yeah. He was...
and people say, well, people grow and change. Yeah, not that much.
Yeah,
generally don't change their spots,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Is I don't know, the whole thing. When you talk about the healthcare issue, whole thing pisses me off because the Republicans had the opportunity to do something about it, and they never did anything. In fact, they helped push through Medicare Part D. I mean, that's the only thing they did. I mean, and then when Obamacare started coming out, they came up with good solutions, but it was like you didn't really want these solutions. Or else you would have done it back when you had power of both the House and the Senate. Back when you had a Republican president. I say that very loosely. And they didn't do anything. They waited until somebody came along that was going to ram something down the throats of the American people, and they put up some good ideas, but they knew it would never pass. That's why they did it. And it's all joke. It's all joke. I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter because we know it's all fake and we know it's not going to really amount to much of anything. But just sometimes maybe get people to think, hey, maybe Trump is kind of a, full of crap. It would be good for, some of these people that are all in, with him, that they would, definitely think about that. So. But
I've got a personal attack on somebody. There is this one girl on Facebook. Now, you know the ones. I mean, there's a couple of them that, they're like activists and they're attractive, but like they post pictures, like with their cleavage and stuff like that. Like the one I've sent pictures of to you before.
Yes.
She is. I don't think she's much substance. She's really not much substance. There's one girl, Kristen Megan, and she's a pretty attractive woman, but she's a good activist. I do have respect for her. She actually was in the Air Force and she started questioning about chemtrails, and then they told her shut up, and she didn't, so they kicked her out, and now she's been an activist dealing with chemtrails and other things like that, police abuses and stuff. Her, I respect. Now, there is this one that goes by the name Cassandra Fairbanks, also known as Cassandra Rules. Now, this chick has the face of a horse, pretty much. I mean, big bags under her eyes. I mean, if she didn't have the big bags under her eyes, she'd be somewhat attractive. She has a nice body. She has some nice boobs, to which she wears like, guinea tees and, or baby dolls with like her boobs like crammed in them, and takes pictures. She used to take pictures of her in cop block shirts until she had an argument with the people from Cop Block and Free Thought Project. Now she talks crap about them all the time, and she's just she's an attention whore. That's what that's exactly what she is. Very little substance. It's funny because she started writing for somebody, and I read one of her articles and I was like, very, very, very biased. I mean, it's one thing to be a reporter. Like, put it this way, Ben Swann, guy that has my respect. Cenk Uygur. Now, he is a liberal. He's always been a liberal. He's from the Young Turks. Now, I've talked about him before. I have the utmost respect for him. Sometimes I totally do not agree with him. But other times I agree completely with him. But at least when I don't agree with him, I can say, okay, he presents a good point. I can see what he's saying. Because he doesn't, he's not like one of these, we need more government and stuff like that, because he recognizes more government results in, more heavy-handed tactics, so... at least I give him credit on that, although he tends to be more liberal. But when Ben Swann, especially when he does reporting, it's actual reporting. He goes after the things the mainstream media won't touch, but he reports. It's not biased, or anything like that.
Right.
It is, I had to tell my kids to go inside. They know I'm doing a show, but they came out and just started walking around the deck. Like,
oh, yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so Cassandra Fairbanks posts this one thing about this one guy who's ranting. He's an actor on Grey's Anatomy, I think it is.
Okay.
And he starts doing all these tweets about, basically saying, the police brutality, white people complain about it, but blah blah blah, and she posts something saying, all these white people, are saying, until you actually are, have been in this, you don't know, and his stuff was, more of the same. It's all, only blacks get harassed and stuff by police, and all this silly nonsense. So I put a post, like somebody had actually put a post in there that said, I understand you have a personal, like she said something about cop blocking or something, and they said, I understand you have a personal, issue with, or you have an issue with Cop Block and Free Thought Project because of a personal thing, but they do provide good information, stuff like that, most of the time. And, and I just put something saying, that, police brutality and harassment is not just reserved to blacks, this is something that happens, although it does happen more to minorities. It happens to anybody. This is more about, you better respect their power, or you're going to have a problem,
Right.
Well, then, like, she winds up going and unfriending people, me included, because now, prior to this, there was all these people going, I agree, love you, all sorts of stuff, So, like, now this chick, like, claims to be an anarchist, claims to be, like, an anarchist, but then when you give anything, like, that just doesn't, like, I mean, I can understand if I said, look, hey, horse face, you got nice tits, but obviously there's not a brain behind, that equestrian, face of yours, I could understand her, getting upset and unfriending me, but I just disagreed partly with her premise, and she unfriends me because I wasn't, trying to suck her ass, and it's just, I just want to say, Miss Fairbanks, fuck you, you cunt. Okay, that's about it.
Well, there you go. There's that PG-13 rating. So
oh. Beep, 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 beep.
And it's gone. So, yeah, well, I mean, this is the way a lot of people are. They become, I call them one-issue people. They're great except for one issue. Or that's all they are, is that one issue.
Yeah.
You'll agree with them on that one issue, and everything else is, they're usually pretty damn stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty common,
I mean, put it this way. Remember on Wednesday we talked about that one woman that I'm friends with on Facebook who was, saying the Holocaust never happened and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then she like called me out without mentioning my name. Obviously, she was having a disagreement with somebody else or something too. So, surprise, surprise. She has disagreements with people, but, and I, and I called her out on it. I said, I think, what you did here was a bitch move, but I didn't unfriend her. She didn't unfriend me, I mean, that could have easily been an unfriend kind of situation, but, I don't unfriend people unless they personally attack me without substance. I mean, if it was because they personally attacked me, then I'd have no friends on Facebook because everybody calls me an asshole and, all sorts of stuff. So, but, but I work hard to earn that title.
You're damn right you do. So, if there's somebody to annoy, you're going to do it. So that's just the way it is. So, But speaking of which, have you talked to my friend, the one that her husband got mad because of the derogatory nature of which I
oh no! I haven't talked to her. I haven't talked to her. Yeah. I mean, from I told you what happened.
And then he was cheating on her. So,
yeah. Shortly thereafter, I started seeing posts by her where he was like screwing around on her, not surprisingly. He was screwing around on her, and she found like all like these naked pictures on his phone from this other chick, and then it came out that, you know, and then she like starts saying, why would you post something like that? I mean, I could maybe understand, you know, fine, you know, my husband's a cheating bastard. But then she starts posting stuff about how she lost her 4 kids, and they don't even though they're adult children now, they don't even talk to her.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it's like, you know.
She's a nut.
Well, bingo, exactly. So, I mean, and that's the whole thing. Actually, I did see a picture of her recently. She's been working out. Dude, you better watch out. She will kick your ass. She will body slam you, and she will grind her vagina into your face and suffocate you to death. In fact, I think she'll wrap her vagina around your head and crush your head like a little grape.
Like a walnut.
She is like, let me explain something. These fitness models and stuff, I think they actually, like, you know, when a chick has a really hard 6-pack, it's not really appealing to me. I like it when they've got the line, you know, like the line, the definition, but not the individual, you know, horizontal lines, you know.
Right. Right.
But I still can see these fitness models attractive. Then you get into bodybuilding women, and I don't think that's attractive in the least bit. And it's funny because, you know, you get these women, especially that are into it, and they'll go, "Why are you intimidated?" No, I'm not intimidated. It has nothing to do with being intimidated. Okay, let me make something perfectly clear. You douchebag bitches. Okay, this has nothing to do. If I see a woman that is muscular, whether she's as muscular as me or more muscular, okay, I'm not attracted to that. Okay, and it has nothing to do with it, you know, being intimidated or anything, because I can tell you, if there was some hot friggin' chick, and I knew she was like a ninja, all right, but she wasn't looking to kill me, okay, and she just wanted to screw me, but could kill me at any time, okay. She was like, you know, like super ninja black belt, you know, crazy flip
ninja chick.
Like hot pink ninja. Thank you, hot pink ninja chick. If it was like hot pink ninja chick, okay, and she was really a hot pink ninja, not just some Comic-Con hot whore.
Right.
Yeah, it would not bother me to, you know, I would smack her ass as I was plowing her doggy style. I might even pull the Spider-Man fisheye on her just as a joke. Okay?
Whoa.
It has nothing to do with me being intimidated. I'm not gay. Okay? That's what it comes down to. I mean, I've seen some guys that have like good physiques and they have long hair. That's about what I equate it to. Okay? It's like friggin' Caitlyn Jenner. All right?
Yeah.
In fact, Caitlyn Jenner probably would turn me on more than these bodybuilding women.
Yeah.
You know, except for the penis hanging between the legs. But,
well,
you know.
Yeah. That's, you know, it's just like a freak. Another freak and aberration of nature. So see what the Kardashians do to people. So this is why they must be eliminated. They took Bruce Jenner, the triathlete, and made him a woman. So it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. So
it's craziness.
So that's the thing. Now this woman that you're talking about, your friend. Yeah, she is looking like one of these, like she took a picture of herself, like, you know, like working out. And I have to say, prior to her starting working out and stuff, I thought she was somewhat attractive. You know, I mean, maybe not facially that attractive, you know, maybe not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, she was all right, you know. Body-wise, I thought she had a good body and everything. But now, holy crap, man. I mean, it's like, it was. She was taking a picture of herself, like flexing a bicep and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's great. That's like giving, like, you know, like this idiot in Charleston a gun, you know. It's like, yeah, great. Now we've got a psycho, who can't even who her own children don't even want to talk to her, and her husband just gives up and starts screwing other chicks. And now you have the physical capabilities to, pound nails with your bare hands.
Probably not something you want to do. Now, speaking of giving somebody a gun, obviously there was another Confederate flag that was able to obtain an assault Glock and did some shooting once again in a gun-free movie theater, killing, I guess, 2 people. And himself, I believe. That happened, I guess, what was that, Thursday?
Where is that, San Francisco or?
No, I think it was in
Los Angeles? Oh,
No,
it was Louisiana. For some reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Well, you could have, because it said L.A., because it was Louisiana.
Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah. Now, last year, like this time, a doctor in Pennsylvania. I just want to give a counter to that. A doctor. Now let me explain. My wife works at a hospital, and she works nights and stuff like that. And I had convinced her. I said, you need to get a firearm and carry permit. Because you work nights and stuff like that. And hospitals tend to attract loonies and drug addicts and all sorts of low lives.
Sure.
So I was like, you need to carry a gun just because you're dressed as a nurse, or whatever, or doctor or whatever it is. They all look the same now. It's not going to save you. So now she kept saying, even after she got her carry permit, I bought her a gun, all that kind of stuff, and she kept saying, I'm not going to bring it because I'm not allowed to. Hospital policy, I could lose my job. I'm like, nobody's going to. I was like, you got a locker. I was like, hell, you got your own office with a lock. Just keep it in there. And no. Anyway, so a doctor in Philadelphia, he brought a firearm in and this was like last year. Brought a firearm in illegally and did it every time he worked. Brought a firearm in because he didn't agree with, it wasn't illegal, but it was against hospital policy.
Right.
Some guy came in, started shooting people. I think shot 2 people. And this doctor was able to stop it. I don't recall whether he shot the person but he utilized his firearm to stop the shooting. Now imagine how many more people would have been shot. It's fish in a barrel, But he disobeyed and saved lives. And you and I have talked about this. I go to movies, I bring a gun.
Sure.
Always have. Before the Batman shooting, I did. I know it's a bad, it's like there's usually 2 entrances, 1 exit. That's it. Or maybe 3 avenues of exit. It's a death trap. So no, I bring a gun with me every time, and and we talked about that after the Batman shooting. We talked about that. We're like, this guy comes in throwing what was it, smoke grenades or something like that, and I mean, he created even more chaos for himself, and we could, as long as we weren't hit straight out, if you and I were in the theater, or just me or you or whatever, yeah, as long as we weren't taken out, just blam, he wouldn't even see it coming,
Sure. Because he ended up putting on a gas mask, so he definitely couldn't see. Yeah,
and I seem to remember it was fogging up on him too.
Yep. So as they all do. So, it's just it's ridiculous to think that these gun-free zones are safe places. They are not. Just as people don't break laws, but what makes you think that someone that's going to break a law will follow that rule that you have for your little stupid place, whatever it may be. You know.
Well, hold on a second. I mean, I know this was a gun-free zone because it was a movie theater. I know that, and you know, I mean, although this is probably an aberration that the shooter did not respect the sign and drop their firearms at the door or leave them in the car. But come on now. Come on. Just recently we had, Mohammed been, killing Marines and stuff. Ali in Chattanooga, and he went to a Marine recruiting station, and God knows, I mean, hell, we're talking Marines. They're all armed.
Yeah. You would think.
Well, you would think they're trained to use weapons and become experts at using firearms. I mean, aren't all Marines and soldiers, aren't they all armed? I mean.
Yeah, you would think, but no.
Oh no, they're not.
No, unfortunately. Thanks to Bill Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Clinton said, no, you shouldn't have firearms on.
Well, to be fair, that was actually started by George H.W. Bush.
It was.
And Clinton was one that signed it, but it was already in the works under Bush. And, so, I mean, well, you had one New World Order guy, start it and another one sign it. So, so it's, so the thing is that, you can't, and in fact, they had a gun-free zone. They had a no firearms allowed sign right on the window.
Yes,
clear as day, with bullet holes right all around it. I mean, I thought it was. I mean, aside from the the Marines getting killed and stuff, and and it's not because they're Marines, because they're just innocent victims. It's kind of like the whole hero thing. They weren't heroes; they were victims, and they were innocent victims. But the whole thing is there was, I mean, aside from that, I mean, it's so glaringly obvious. It's like funny to see all the bullet holes seriously, that should just be, that picture, they should take a close up with the bullet holes around the gun, the no firearms permitted sign. And just that should be, that's, they say an image, is, a picture is worth 1,000 words. There you go. That's it, right there.
Right. Exactly. It's just every single time. It's never going to happen at a gun store, like we talked about the other day. It doesn't happen at shooting ranges. It doesn't happen at gun shows. Yes, there has been shootings at gun shows. There was one, maybe 6 months ago, where the guy that was bringing a loaded gun into the gun show, you're always asked to take out your magazine, and keep the safety on and keep the magazine on, out of the gun while you're at the show, as a safety precaution. And this guy, as he was taking his gun out of his holster, ended up not really paying too much attention to where his booger hook was, and pulled the trigger. And of course, somebody got shot in the leg. So, but that's a little bit different. So, can it happen? Yeah. Accidents do happen, and that's just the way it is.
That happens with cops all the time, actually, because the cops, most cops carry Glocks, and they've got that stupid finger trigger, or finger safety, trigger safety, whatever. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I think it's retarded. They have that stupid thing. And when the cops are wearing their windbreakers, they have the cord with the little cinching thing, the whatever they call that. And it's on both sides of their jackets. Well, they go to, like, put their gun in their holster, they go to pull it out, and it catches on that, and blam, shoot.
Yeah.
It's happened quite a few times. It's happened quite a few. Now, nothing is quite as good as that DEA agent, the big black guy that was sitting there talking. He was in front of that high school saying, "I am the only one in this entire room that's qualified enough to handle a firearm." Now, what? Bam! Shoots himself in the foot. It was a foot or his leg or something like that. And then he keeps going on with the presentation. I'll give him credit. He kept going on with the presentation. And he goes and picks up an AR-15. He goes, "Who wants to see this AR-15? And the whole crowd's like, no.
God, what an idiot.
Like, he's sued people to try to get that off of, like, YouTube and stuff because it makes him look so bad. Like, he's gotten nothing but, like, harassment from, like, people, all, like, other DEA agents and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the thing that bothers me is the guy is stupid enough to go into a school, okay, where he's going to be doing a demonstration. Why would you keep one in the chamber?
I don't know.
I mean,
I do not know. I mean, put it this way: at our where we do martial arts, we were doing weapon defenses, and one of the guys that is at the other place, he's a cop, so he brought in a to show the differences, how you can grab them and stuff like that. He brought in a hammerless 357, I think it was, or a 338, and then he brought in a Glock 9mm.
Right.
But he made sure, he showed people, look, this is empty. There's nothing in the chamber. There's no magazine in this weapon. And he still said, and I'm not going to point at it. He had good gun safety.
Right.
One thing I wasn't aware of. Now, if somebody has a semi-automatic gun and you grab the slide, you actually they were saying you won't get burned by the gases.
Yeah, I could see that.
And you'll freeze it. You'll freeze it. They'll have to re-rack it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's whereas now if you were to grab a like a revolver around the cylinder, it's going to fry your hand. It's going to burn your hand pretty badly.
Which that's understandable. Because that's direct, So whereas the slide is just an ejection, so that's understandable. I get that.
But I mean, if it comes down to like I'm going to have a burned hand or I'm going to get shot by 38 or 357.
Oh yeah, no,
I'm taking the burn. So it's that's so anyway, but yeah, it is interesting all the little things you can do with with like self-defense with a gun. I mean, as long as you don't get shot with that first round, I mean, some of the things they showed us, which I probably forgot most of them. We don't practice. That's my only criticism about where I go is we learn something and then we don't go over it for a while, and then we might go over it, but it might be a month or so after. It's like that's the whole point.
Some of these things take more practice.
Yeah, you got to practice these things, So I mean, but like some of the things, man, it's just if you're dealing with if somebody's got the gun pointing at you, you grab that gun and you bend it back over, and just fold it over on their wrist, and you just point it at their face. I mean, their natural inclination is the more you push, the more their hand's going to pull that trigger. So you just wind up keep pushing it right to their face, and bam, they'll shoot themselves.
But the average person, too, is when you think about the average person that's going to pull a gun.
Up, underwater.
I'm underwater?
Yeah, you're underwater. Am I?
No.
Okay, you're good.
The average person that's going to pull a gun on you is not going to think about gaining distance from you.
Yeah.
You know,
They like to. They like to stay.
They're going to stay there.
Yeah, they like to. They like to stay close too. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
the stupidest thing you could do.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's one of the things is, you know, because I mean, this I already knew. You know, but when we were going over, somebody had asked you know, they said, you know, something about like if somebody comes up behind you, you know, they said like, you know, do you want to try to like kind of move away? You know, and they've got a gun there, and they were like, no, let them put the gun to you, because then you know where it is. You know, if they put the gun up to the back of your head, you know exactly where that is. You know, if they put it to your back, you know where it is. You know whether it's dead on your spine, off to the side. You know, and you know, that's what you want. You know, you want to, because then you know where to go. You know, it's not just you're spinning around and, you know, you don't know where it's aimed at. You don't know if they've got it high ready. You know, you don't know if they've got it held sideways. You don't know any of that, you know, until you see it, and then they can shoot you. You know, that's one of the things. Yeah, I mean, just like you said, I mean, most people, you know, they fully extend their arm out. They lock their elbows up, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, most people have horrible shooting techniques. So.
Sure. You know, they won't even think to back up. You want minimum 6 foot between you and that person if you're pulling a gun.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, because the distance they could travel, you know, unless you're really fast on that trigger. So, you know, like you say, you could get one off, but you might not get a second one off if you're that close.
Yeah,
so,
and even I mean, you know, and that's one of the things is, I mean, you know, Lord knows you don't want to get shot. But if you can change the angle on them, even if you take that first round, trying to close that distance, let's say you shift to the side, you see they're like kind of pointing at your left side, you know, so you shift to your right real quick. If they hit you, chances are they're not hitting anything vital. You know, it'd probably go off a rib or something. And if they're pointing at your head, chances are they're going to totally miss. You know, you know, it's. You know, you can take a bullet. I mean, you're not going to feel it then. The adrenaline is you're not going to feel it, you know, until the adrenaline wears off. If you close the gap, you get the gun, or you know, whatever. Once your adrenaline wears off, you'll be like, oh, you know. But until then, you're going to be like, oh, kick your ass! You shot me! I don't feel it at all.
You know, unless it's like maybe a .357 Magnum or .45.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's stopping you. You know, that's gonna spin you around.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's no two ways about it. But if it's like a 9mm, even 40 caliber, or you know, 38, or you know, something like that, it's not gonna spin you. It just doesn't have the punch.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, believe me, I do not want one. So
I don't want to get shot by a BB gun. You know, I mean, you know.
No, yeah. So you know, I'm kind of afraid of, you know, paintballs. So because those suckers hurt.
They do.
I caught a paintball one time right on my forehead, without the mask was just below it. Oh, right in the forehead, man. That's pain from about
I've had
6 foot away.
the worst is getting hit like in the back of the ear.
Oh yeah.
That's the worst because the masks don't cover it. I got hit in the back of the ear once. It was funny because one time I was playing paintball with my wife and some friends and stuff, and my wife had just started kind of working at the at the hospital she was at in Jersey, and you know, so like she had been shot by somebody like in the bicep, you know, and she had a big bruise on it, you know, and I had lit her up in the back. I had shot her in the ass and I shot her in the back a couple times, like, you know, because we were playing in the city area, and for some reason I'm just really good in that environment. I just like to stalk people and, you know, wait till I get a clear shot and I just light them up, and I did that with her. So So the funniest thing was like I hit her like 3 or 4 times in the back. She was in a hiding spot and I saw her. She moved to a new hiding spot. I took her old hiding spot. She moved to a new hiding spot. I took her old hiding spot. Then she went to run across an open area, and I just lit her up as soon as she started running. And she put up her hand. You're supposed to put up your hand saying you're out. She put up her hand, and one of the paintballs just went errantly and hit her right in the back of the hand. So she was like, I'm trying to give up, and you shoot me in the friggin' hand. So anyway, she goes to work, and and I actually wound up becoming pretty good friends with a lot of the people there afterwards. But they didn't really know me. And she reaches up to get something out of a cabinet, and her shirt sleeve kind of folds up, and some people saw the bruise on her arm, and they're like, "Did EJ do that?" And she goes, and she wasn't even thinking. She goes, "Oh no, he got me in the ass in the back." And they're like, "Huh?" She's like, "This was somebody else." And they're like, "What?" She wasn't even saying. And then she's like, "Oh no, this is paintball." They're like, "No, this is paintball."
Oh, God.
Yeah, I run an abusive gangbang on my wife. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. This is something you do on a Saturday night. When they really hurt is during the winter when they freeze.
Cold. When they're cold, yeah.
Oh God, do they hurt?
They're just like marbles, then.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. So it's just they don't even burst sometimes.
No, they don't break.
So, yeah. So.
Then again, it's bad when it's humid out. If it's like raining and really humid out because the balls swell,
right.
And you'll go to shoot and they burst in the barrel, and you'll just see this. Yeah, you'll just see this bleh, thing come out. Like you're like, ha, I'm gonna get it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done airsoft. Have you done airsoft?
No, but the kids have, and they liked it.
Yeah, airsoft seems kind of cool.
Yeah. So, I think I don't think it's as accurate. Oh, really? But yeah, they were saying they didn't think it was as accurate, but you can tweak things with it anyway. So, I can't imagine. I would think that it would be more accurate than a paintball.
That's what I was thinking. Paintballs aren't accurate at all.
There's some paintball guns that are pretty damn accurate. So, I mean, they're just top of the line things, man. You could yards.
Yeah, if you get like one of the barrels that puts some backspin on it,
yeah,
they can be pretty accurate, But I like playing paintball. It's fun. All that kind of stuff.
It's not like something you'd have to go to a paintball place to do.
No, you could go anywhere. Yeah.
You can go anywhere. So
I mean, around here, you go on somebody's property and you might get shot, with a real gun. But
different story, yeah. So, but I mean, if you have like open woods or anything by you, you could do it. Even like state parks or something like that, because they're not going to stop you. You're not destroying anything because the paint washes right off.
Yeah, yeah, but our luck, we'd go out and do something like that, and some Barney Fife Ranger would be like, "We got people shooting guns here," and they'd call in a SWAT team and Predator drones and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, sure.
Well, they couldn't find that one guy, whatever his name was, up in Pennsylvania. So, chances are they wouldn't find us either.
It's funny. They couldn't find him for, God, it was, I think
3 months?
Over 100. Yeah, it was over 100 days. I know that, or close to 100 days. And then those other two idiots the ones that broke out of the prison with the electric tools and the power tools and digging equipment. I mean those two idiots almost had excavating equipment, and nobody heard a thing. So it was just amazing. But they didn't know where they were. They were looking like all over the place for them. The drones didn't help them at all. The only thing that those two morons did was they broke into someone's cabin and stole a gun and then left the door open.
Yeah.
If they hadn't done that, the person that the cabin was broken into would have never known it because they didn't use it much. It was somebody that lived nearby that saw the door open. So if they would have never found them. They would have never found them.
They found them like 10 miles from the Canadian border or something like that, right?
It wasn't far. It wasn't far. So they made some good trips. So originally they looked south. They kept looking towards the Pennsylvania line. So they didn't look up north. So but they found them. Of course. And I think the one got shot, was killed. So and the other one, I guess he got shot too, but he wasn't killed. So.
Speaking of which, I mean, we were talking about that Sandra Bland case. And I did want to clarify, I don't know, I mean, I know we talked about it, I know we mentioned that, she was rude, she was dumb. I don't know, I don't even know if rude is I would say she was relatively rude.
She was obnoxious, for sure.
She was obnoxious, but I did want to clarify, I know we mentioned it. The cop didn't have a right to pull her out of the car. He never had a right to pull her out of the car because she didn't put out a cigarette.
Right.
She was in her right. Now she was stupid, and why was she stupid? I learned this a long time ago. Well, I was when I was like a teenager. I was just about to argue with a cop who had pulled me over. I was just about to argue with a cop, and he said, "Look, I'm going to give you a warning." I was like, "Okay." And I learned then, I said, all right, shut my mouth until I know what's going to happen. Or unless they're being a real dick. I mean, if they're being a real dick, I'm going to be a wise ass. It's just what I'm going to do. I mean, I have told stories about my wise ass, escapades with cops. Every one of them has been hilarious. So, and that's the funniest thing because, you always hear from the cops, oh, it doesn't matter to us because, we're getting paid to do it, and we'll just keep screwing with you. No. Let me tell you. When I see your face getting red, and I see you, reach for your gun, okay, because you're so pissed off, and I know you want to shoot me, okay, I know that you are not having a good day at work, and it's because of me, okay? I had that happen. This guy was, screwing with me, and, he was, he actually put his hand. He was just being a dick, and I've told you about it. I was waiting for my girlfriend at this cul-de-sac, and he pulls up, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I'm waiting for my girlfriend," And then she pulls up, and she sees him, and so she pulls into a driveway and pulls and drives away. I'm like, "There she is." All right, there she goes. And he's like, "I think it's a drug deal." I'm like, "It's not a drug deal. She doesn't want to be messed with." But he's all sitting there, I forget exactly what it was, but he's all talking crap and stuff, and I'm just giving it right back to him. And he's like, "So you think you're funny, huh?" I'm like, I don't think, I know. It's just what's the matter? And so he's getting red in the face, and he puts his hand on his gun instinctively. It was this. It wasn't just resting. It was he put his hand on his gun, and I was like, "Oh, what are you gonna shoot me?" I wasn't necessarily the smartest because maybe it was a different time because nowadays I'd be like, "Oh crap, you're gonna shoot me." But
on the videotape of this.
but yeah, well, you know, the videotape just drove away. That bitch psycho I was dating. I was like, why'd you drive away? When I talked to her, she was like, I saw a cop there. I didn't want to. I was like, well, that's what I said. She didn't want that. You didn't want to get messy. I was like, it would have helped if you had just said, hey, yeah, I'm meeting him here. But anyway, so so many. Oh, this was funny. This is what pissed him off. Okay, so there was a sign in this cul-de-sac, and it said no dumping. So this genius, you know, I'm like, where does it say that I can't just stop here? I can't park here. You know, he goes, right there. What does that sign say? I said, no dumping. I said, it looks like I can read, but somebody can't. And that's where he got red in the face. He put his hand on his gun.
Yeah, I was actively dumping. You got me.
I was dumping mentally while I was sitting in my car having a cigarette waiting for my girlfriend. But but anyway, so the thing is, look, you know, she was dumb because she should have just kept her mouth shut. Okay, she should have kept her mouth shut just for the simple fact that she should have just waited to see what was going on. You know, but after that, you know, the cop was, you know, and a lot of people were like, oh, he was tailgating. He wasn't tailgating. You know, and I think Lord knows that I'm going to side with the people over the cop, you know, most of the time.
Yeah, no, he wasn't tailgating. Was he coming up on her fairly fast? Yeah, but he wasn't tailgating.
Yeah. And was he being a dick for pulling her over because she didn't turn and put her turn signal on? I think so. I mean, look, buddy, you're speeding, flying up on somebody. They don't turn their turn signal on. You know, she might have just looked in her rear view, saw a cop car flying up, and just turned and got out of the way. You know, didn't really think about it. You know, so he was he was looking for something. You know, but he was going to give her a warning, and she should just shut her mouth. And you know, but once, you know, he asked her a question. You all right? You look irritated. You know, actually, he said, "Are you all right?" She said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then he was looking for something. He said, "You look irritated." She said, "Yeah, I'm irritated," and she explained why. All right, well, could you put your cigarette out for me? I'm in my car. I don't have to put my cigarette out. Well, now you can get out. No, you can't pull her out. You can't demand. It's not a lawful order. Smoking a cigarette is not a crime. Smoking a cigarette in your own car is not a crime. And disagreeing with an officer is not a crime. So at that point, it became the fault of the officer. So, you know, I mean, although she probably, you know, didn't, you know, she was trying to assert her rights, I don't think she did it in the best way. Because, I mean, and the thing is, and I said this on Facebook, I said, look, treat police as you would a pit bull. Some pit bulls are very nice dogs. They may look intimidating because they're pit bulls and they got the big jowls and all that kind of stuff and might be stocky. Okay, but treat every cop as you would a pit bull. Okay? If you get one that's being nice, don't poke it. If you get one that's being mean, don't poke it. Just don't poke a friggin' pit bull. Right. Because you're liable to lose a limb. Yeah.
You're just asking for trouble. So, you know, do what you have to do. You know, if you're getting pulled over, don't, you know, there's no unless it's obvious that they're just harassing you. And if that's the case, you know, if they're just pulling you over at a checkpoint or something like that, all you have to do is keep saying, am I being detained? That's it.
And now I have a good example. Now, I'm going to give one example of where I think the cops were out of line, okay, by the book, but I give them a total pass. I watched this one video. It's this guy. He was drunk, obviously drunk. He had been threatening his neighbor. The police came. They were called. They came. They were talking to the guy. They knew him. You know, they knew him first name basis, and they're, you know, it's obvious they're talking to him. And the guy's like getting all bold and stuff. He's like, yeah, whatever, you know. And they're like, all right, Rick or whatever, we'll see you later. And he's like, yeah, you'll see me come, or yeah, you'll see me in person, you know, soon enough. And then the guy goes, yeah, I'll go after your kids too.
Yeah, see.
They proceeded then. Yeah, the cop then flipped out, attacked him. The other cops tried to hold him back, and the guy kept talking. So then the other cops started beating him up. Okay, they said, screw it, I'm not going to hold this cop back. I'm going to kick your ass now too. You know, you threaten the guy's kids, I don't care who he is, cop, no cop, expect to get your ass beat. And if his friends are there, expect to get your ass beat by his friends, cop or no cop. For example, I remember there was a time, because this goes in that vein of stupidity, not knowing when to quit. I was out with my former brother-in-law. This is before, you know, this is when I was dating my wife. He was dating her sister, and we were all out at this bar. And some guy had, like, you know, tried to, like, make a hit on, you know, his girlfriend, you know, my brother-in-law's girlfriend, then wife. So they started getting into it. And so we wind up coming out, you know, they wind up getting us outside. And so then, you know, so I'm like trying to hold him back. I'm trying to calm him down. I'm like, dude, come on, you know, stop. I'm like, just forget it. Everything was kind of starting to get calm. And that dude that, you know, had hit on it, he steps out and he's like, come on. And I snapped. I threw my jacket. I tore my jacket off, and I friggin' flew at him. I started going at him, and then a bunch of people grabbed me. But it was like one of those situations like, hey, look, you know, we're trying to calm the situation down. But now you're going to antagonize it. Now, you know, now you just need your ass beat. You know?
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you just let it go.
Yeah. Oh, at that point, because I had been trying to restrain, you know, and you know, my brother-in-law is a big guy. And I'm trying to restrain him, hold him back, and then, you know, everything's starting to calm down, and then all of a sudden, you know, tough guy has to, you know, come outside and be like, yeah, come on. And he's hiding behind the owner, too, talking crap behind the owner. And I was like, screw you. So now, okay, so I talked about that case. Now for another case in which the people were getting screwed with, and the guy handled himself well with the cops, there was a family traveling from Massachusetts to Tennessee. They pulled off. It wasn't a rest stop. It was like a gas station, you know. The guy got tired somewhere in Virginia, and he pulls off, you know, and he goes to the back of the you know, gas stop, you know, or the convenience store, because the front is very well lit and stuff. And his family is there with his kid, his wife, his 3 kids. And so they wanted to sleep. So they pulled up the car seats and everything, and, you know, folded down the seats, and they're sleeping. You know, they got the windows like rolled down and stuff like that. His wife wakes him up and says, hey, there's a cop coming to mess with us. So he gets up, he rolls the windows up and everything. Cop's like, hey, I need to talk to you. You know, what are you doing here and stuff? And he was like, we're sleeping. You know, and he's like, well, you know, you need to, you know, he's saying like, you know, well, you know, you sure that's all you're doing and stuff? He's like, yeah, I'm sure that's all we're doing. We're sleeping, you know. And he said something like, why'd you roll up your windows and stuff? He was like, because I don't want to be harassed by a cop. You know. So now this guy has tattoos on his face, on his neck. I don't know if he's a tattoo artist or whatnot, but you know, I mean, he looks a rougher part, you know. But he's got his kids in the car and stuff, and he's just telling his kids, calm down, don't worry about it, you know. So I asked the cop, he was just like, you know, and the cop's like, well, look, there's been reports of drug dealing going on back here, and he said, you know, he's like, has it been directly in relation to me? Cop goes, no. He goes, then why are you bothering me? You know, he's like, you know, and he did tell me. He said, look, we're coming from Massachusetts going to Tennessee. We got tired. We pulled over. We're sleeping. You know, and and the cop's all like, well, you know, I want you to step outside and talk. He's like, I'm not stepping outside. He's like, you know, why are you? He was like, you're harassing me. You know, he's like, you're harassing me. And then he says, am I being detained? He goes, no. And he goes, okay, can I leave? He goes, no. He goes, so am I being detained? No. Can I leave?
I'm leaving.
No. And he's like, well, okay. And he kept asking him. Then another cop shows up. And so he says, he's like, I'm not, and he goes, you know, the guy comes up. He's like saying like, you know, and the guy says, hey, look, I need 3 forms of ID. He was like, you guys are in different uniforms. How do I know you're not, you know, how do I know you're actually cops? And the guy goes, well, here's my ID. And he shows him his badge. He goes, I could buy a badge. I could buy a uniform too. He's like, I need to see 3 forms of ID. And they're like, He's like, look, I'm not going to talk to you if you're not going to show me 3 forms of ID. You know, and the one cop, second cop on the scene, and then another cop shows up. You know, the second cop on the scene is like, well, why won't you answer questions? I'm answering your questions. He said, because I didn't come over and start bothering you. And he said, I'm not answering questions. Am I free to go? And the guy goes, well, that's up to this cop. He goes, okay. Well, I've asked him. He said I was free to go. He said I'm not being detained. You know, that means I'm free to go. But I want to make sure. He said, you know, and then they go off and start talking. So then he rolls his window down a little bit. And he's like, am I being detained or am I free to go? And they don't answer. He's like, am I being detained or am I free to go? Finally, they said, you're free to go. Thank you. Have a good night. And he drives off. Mm-hmm. Now, he didn't give him attitude. He wasn't pleased, obviously.
No.
Nor should he, but he stayed calm. And he just kept, the main thing is he said, am I being detained or am I free to go? And when they said, well, we suspect that or we've had calls about, you know, drug dealing going on here. He said, was it directly in relation to me? No. Okay. Then why are you coming to me? You know? And then when they couldn't answer that, he said, okay, well, am I being detained or am I free to go? And he just kept up with that. You know? Right. And that's the whole thing. Now, they'll tell you, no, I've seen plenty of videos where they'll say, no, you're not being detained, you know, and then you say, am I free to go? And they go, no. Okay, well, which is it?
Well, I'm being detained. So
okay, then I'm being detained.
Once they say, no, you're not being detained, you're free to go. Just go.
Yeah. The problem is they may tase you or shoot you or something like that. That's the only problem.
But they have to have cause for that because you already asked them, am I being detained? Well, if you're not being detained, that means you're free to go.
Yep.
So, and then you got them on all kinds of different stuff. You got them on assault. You got them on, impeding travel. There's all kinds of different stuff you got them on. If they say, yes, you're not being detained, or no, you're not being detained, then you're done. That's it.
And that is the key. Else. I mean, you know, because, I mean, and that's a funny thing, because people say, am I being detained? Am I free to go? They say, no, you're not being detained. They say, okay, am I free to go? I mean, technically, you're right. If you say, am I being detained? And they go, no. Then you say, okay, thank you, have a nice night. Or thank you, have a nice day. And then if they say, no, you can't leave, say, then I'm being detained. Then I'm being detained, and now I know what now I need to know what crime you are actually. Yeah, I need to know what crime you suspect me specifically of committing.
Right.
And it can't be a random, well, we think you might have drugs. That doesn't cut it. What is your probable cause for detaining me?
Yeah,
it has to be specific to me. To me, committing a crime or being an accessory to. And if you don't have anything other than, well, you might be, well, anybody might be, it better be a good reason, or I'm going to file a complaint and I'm going to sue the department.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, it's just harassment. You know, I could see if there's a good reason for it, fine. If there's a lot of burglaries in the area, if there's a lot of, if there is drug deals going on in the area, but when you see that, it's people traveling with a family, now if the guy's got tattoos all over his face, that's going to give you a reason to start to look a little harder. I mean, that's just the way things are. But when you see them waking up.
The cop even said that at some point. He said something about, well, I know you were sleeping with your family, or I know you guys were sleeping. If you're dealing drugs, you're not sleeping. Let me tell you something. I've had friends that were drug dealers. Okay, I've had friends that were drug dealers. You're not going to fall asleep if you're dealing drugs because somebody might come and steal all your crap.
Right, they'll kill you.
Okay, they'll kill you. They'll kill you, your family, and take your crap. You're not falling asleep if you're dealing drugs. You're going to be well aware of what's going on. You're not going to take a nap. So, so the fact is it was just, and that's the whole thing is you have to know what you're dealing with, and you have to know the law. And this is one of the reasons why I drove cops nuts when I was younger. I was, look, I looked like, I've said it before, I was a skate punk, mohawk and, friggin' mullet from hell and earrings out the wazoo and all sorts of stuff and, tattered clothes and, so, I looked like I was going to be like, hey, dude, surf's up, but then they would make contact with me and I knew my rights. I knew my rights. I knew the laws. I knew what they were allowed to do, what they weren't allowed to do. I remember one time I had a cop started trying to look inside my pockets. He grabbed my pocket and pulled it out, and I grabbed my pocket. I said, "You're not allowed to do that." He was like, "Yes, I am." I said, "No, you're not." I said, "You already patted me down for weapons. That's what you're allowed to do." I said, "That was assault. You just put your hands on me. That was assault." And he was like, "Yeah, well, he said something like, yeah, whatever, And I was just, and I said, look, I was like, either give me a reason that you're, and it was funny because I used to go hang out at this overpass by my house because I didn't like being home. I just like kind of hanging out, smoking cigarettes, listening to music. And it was funny because he pulls up and I'm just like, so what's the problem? I'm just like, so what's the problem? And he goes, we got a report of people throwing rocks off this overpass. I said, just recently? He said, yeah. I said, bullshit. I said, you know why? Because I've been here the whole time, and I wouldn't throw rocks off of here because I like coming here. That would screw up my opportunity to come out here, wouldn't it?
So, yeah, you had them. So, once you got them, and sometimes when you got them, that's what makes them even angrier.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what pissed them off the most.
Sure.
Yeah. That's what pissed them off the most was because here's some punk kid that they think they're going to have an easy way with, and he's all of a sudden, citing law. I didn't know the case law, but I knew what it said. I knew what the law was. I knew what they could do, what they couldn't do, and I just spout that stuff off, and they'd be like, and instead of saying, oh, you know what, you're right. Never did I have that. Ever did I have that.
Oh, no.
Never had a cop say, well, you know what, you're right, and, it was always, oh, yeah, you think you're smart? To which I've said to a couple of cops, well, obviously smarter than you.
Shit.
Oh, dude, I had such good times. I remember one time, I have so many stories. I remember one time got pulled over and we got pulled over. It was me and my friend. We got pulled over. So it was funny because we had pulled into the Great Swamp. You know where the Great Swamp is, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we used to go out there and just walk the boardwalk at night, because it was cool. Because the fog would come in and stuff, and it was just really cool to go out there. So we pull in one time, and there's a cop sleeping. He's pulled back deep into the parking lot, and he's just snoring, on taxpayer dimes. So we pull in, we're like, crap. So we start pulling out. He pulls us over. He's like, what are you doing here? I was like, well, we were going to go for a walk. What are you doing here? Taking a nap? So then, he's got us waiting, and because he's like, you're trespassing. That was a funny thing. He goes, you're trespassing. I said, so are you. This is not your jurisdiction. You're not allowed to be here. I actually knew. I knew that a town cop could not be in the state park. I don't know if it's state park or a federal park. I don't remember, but I knew that they couldn't be. So when he gave me that, you're trespassing. You're trespassing because the park is closed. I said, well, so are you, and you're taking a nap while you're supposed to be working.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So then so he's like, well, you wait here. I'm like, okay. So then his buddy he had called in pulls in, puts his high beams and his floodlight right in our faces, and we both close our. I'm like, just close your eyes and smile. So I'm just like, we're just sitting there. We're like, you can't find us. You can't find us.
That's good.
We just
tells me it's late, and it's just about time to say goodnight once again.
Sounds
and
good.
It looks like we won't be back on now until next time.
Week and a half.
So
week and a half. Week and a half.
Yeah. So
we will be back on in a week and a half, and Pete's busy mining for gold, and I'm busy trying to screw Asians, with Scottish accents and stuff, and
such. And there'll be
Scottish Russian accents and
Slavic, Scottish, Gaelic, Mexicans. So with Slavic influences. So until next time, you chicken.
I don't know why, but I can do the Southern white racist and the Southern black racist. I can do that accent pretty well.
No, because they sound pretty much the same.
Well, yeah, I guess I do. So, but I can still do it. I mean, I do it like a Southern white racist. I when I do that accent, I don't sound like I'm Jamaican,
No, most of the time anyway. So,
so it's
9 times out of 10 anyway. Which is very odd, to tell you the truth. So we're gonna have to just work on the Asian non-Slavic Mexicans. So
all right, sounds good. Because I
do that in the next week and a half. So
yeah. What I'm gonna have to do is right now I'm gonna have to make my children go wash the dog.
Oh, the dog was in the lake again, obviously.
Yeah. Hey, shush, Nimrod. So, all right, cool. So anyway, Mr. Pete, you have a good night, and we will be back on in a week and a half.
All right. Good night.
Sounds good.
Fucking little stinkers.
Good night.